What is up, everybody? We are here with the man, Alex Strouf, newly ESPN Madison's Alex Strouf. What's up? Congrats on that, by the way.
Appreciate that, man. Good to be back with you. It's been a little bit, early season, we were together like 4 times a week. I feel like our relationship's fallen off a cliff, but we have not filed for divorce from one another yet. So we're back together. That's good.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back. I thought maybe I did something to told my wife, I was like, I don't know if he loves me anymore.
It's still all love here, I promise. Yeah, we're still good. We're still good.
Well, you're a busy guy. I see, like you do stuff with Cheesehead TV. You do is it Cheesehead TV?
Yeah, Pack-A-Day is owned by Cheesehead TV, so technically, yeah.
Yeah, I see that you're doing stuff with Andy Herman, Pack-A-Day podcast, Game On Wisconsin still, now ESPN Madison. You're the busiest guy in the business, I think.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's always a different day, which is cool. I've never worked the same day twice, so it's fun for sure.
Yeah, I need to pick up my game a little bit. I've been slacking on the content lately, but today's my first day out of quarantine, so my first day back at work.
Weren't you in quarantine like 2 months ago?
No, I was in quarantine for like 24 days.
Why so long?
Because my kids got it and I didn't. So according to the county, I have to be out so much time because I could get it at any time.
So you're not sick. You never got sick.
No, I never. I puked one day, but I drank the night before, so I don't know if that had something to do with
it. That's just called a good old-fashioned hangover, Matty.
I don't think I really. I mean, I was tired a lot, but I was off work, so I was just sleeping a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sleeping 15 hours a freaking day, you lazy piece of junk. Yeah,
that's what it was. But anyways, let's get into this Packers talk. All right.
Sure.
I pissed off some people on the internet today.
Oh, really? That's new.
Yeah. So so I should read like what I tweeted, all right? Because I got all these responses.
Yeah, walk me through it.
All right, my phone won't open. All right, here we go. This is a great show we got going on here. But here's what I tweeted. Where the hell is it now? Oh yeah, I said, why do some Packers fans insist on worrying about players Packers could have had instead of enjoying the guys we do have? Packers are 9-3. Enjoy it. So like what I meant by that is that like everyone's I see so many people like in my comments about anything I post. They're like, yeah, but we could have had this guy, or we need a wide receiver. But the Packers are number 1 in the league in points scored. So I'm not saying that they shouldn't have drafted a wide receiver. I'm just saying it's December. They're 9-3. And I mean, obviously they're not perfect. It's not like there's some end all be all of the greatest team in the league. But I don't think wide receiver is a position that people should be complaining about right now. And like, for me, I just enjoy it. Like, they're doing good. Like, they give me something good to talk about. Like, we done a post-game show after a loss. I think it was the Vikings game. It's not as fun.
No, it's really not. But, the flip side of that is I think the interaction's higher when they lose because people are so pissed off, but they're so Debbie Downer, which makes it a little bit depressing in a sense, I guess. But no, you're right. It's a lot more fun when they win. And when, the point that you hit on that I'd like to double down on is it is December and the Packers are 6 games over 500. You know how, I mean, that's pretty darn good. I can't complain about that.
Yeah, and that was my point exactly, because Aaron Nagler, who I think he says it perfect because people obviously he's got a lot more interaction than me. And whenever someone complains, he's like, dude, they've played 12 games or whatever it is. They won 9, lost 3. Like, I get like people are acting like I'm saying you can't criticize the team. Like you can, but
I do it all the time. But
yeah,
to reflect on, and I think we'll get deeper into it, but to reflect on the draft that happened 9 months ago or something like that, 8 months ago, and to blame that for 3 losses, which by the way is really good, it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Especially like when people are talking about wide receivers, because I was going to ask people. I didn't want to get into like a war with people on Twitter, but I saw other people asking those questions that I would have asked anyway, so I just kind of reading. But like the Vikings game, that wouldn't have been a win with a wide receiver, unless a wide receiver can tackle, because that was Delvin Cook. That was the running game that we couldn't stop. So wide receiver isn't helping there. The Buccaneers game, I think that their pass rush just was on fire that game. And I think there's probably more to it. I think I got really hammered that day. I don't remember exactly, but like I don't see a rookie wide receiver. Like, yeah, like Jefferson is a stud. Like I think he's gonna be a great wide receiver.
Probably gonna win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. So like I get that what people are saying, but like I just think you're halfway through the season. Like let's just enjoy it.
Before we move on from Jefferson, people forget the Packers didn't have a chance at him. They would have had to trade up further than they did for Jordan Love. He went before Jordan Love did. I don't think they had a realistic chance at Jefferson, although he was one of my draft crushes for sure. I don't think he'd be in a Packers uniform anyway. So I think to complain about not having, who I just called the offensive rookie of the year more than likely, I don't think that would have changed. I mean, it couldn't be changed because the Packers didn't have a legitimate shot at him. Go on.
Yeah, yeah, because I don't know a lot about like how trades work. I mean, I know how they work, but I know that there's like scores and they got to trade. So yeah, I think it'd have been very hard for them to trade up. And if the Vikings even thought we were trying to trade up, maybe they would have anyways because it'd have been cheaper. I don't know, but yeah, but like it doesn't matter because I don't think I could see if people were saying about defense. If people were saying, well, we should have drafted this guy or that guy. I don't know college guys like Jordan Love even. Like I'm not mad at the Packers for drafting him if they really believe he's gonna be that guy, or if he ends up being traded, whatever it is. Like I don't know. Like whenever someone says something like, "Well, you wanted a wide receiver, but now you're saying that you're happy with Jordan Love," like no, I'm saying that I think the Packers know more about these players than I do. Yeah, if they don't turn out, they'll pay.
No, it's funny because I saw a tweet earlier this week, and it was about the receivers that the Packers could have pursued but didn't. One of those names being Will Fuller. Brian Gutekunst didn't take. Well, there was 3 examples. I can't even remember the names off the top of my head, but all 3 of them, one way or another, at this point, it's come to fruition that it wouldn't have worked out. Will Fuller obviously had the PED positive test, and he's out for the season in week 1 of next year. A couple other guys. So Will Fuller wouldn't have even been able to play with the Packers this year. Would have had 2 games with them if they actually pulled the trigger on that trade, which is I'm very glad they didn't. And obviously Brian Gutekunst, maybe he didn't know the PED part, but he knew, maybe he wasn't worth the gamble. And that's turning out to be, right. I think it's funny, and maybe this would fit better in the conversation a little bit down the road, but I want to bring it up now. And that's Matt Schneidman of The Athletic tweeted this today. He said, Packers fans, who are you taking in their prime? The answer or the options are Davante Adams or Jordy Nelson. Over 4,200 votes. Davante Adams is over 86% of the vote. I mean, so the Packers fans have come to the conclusion that Davante Adams is the best receiver we've seen in the green and gold since maybe ever. I mean, it's been a very long time. Jordy was the other best one. He's better than Javon Walker. As long as I've been alive, I think Davante Adams. Sterling Sharp. I think he's better than him, right? Antonio Freeman. Like, I think, to win that vote by that much margin, that means Jordy Nelson got under 13.5% of the votes of 4,200 Packers fans saying they'd rather have Davante than Jordy in their prime. That tells you what you need to know about the wide receiver situation. Davante Adams is playing the position the best we've ever seen it played in green and gold. And I know that's only one guy, and of course you'd love to have a second piece. But the Packers, again, they're 9-3. Aaron Rodgers is a great facilitator. I've said it all year. He's the best quarterback at making something out of nothing. When Davante Adams was out, the Packers were still winning because, it's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to make it work. We've seen the tight end involvement. I know your man crush, Bobby Biceps, Bobby Tonyan. He's had a huge year, and that's because Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur have implemented the tight end, so heavily this year that Aaron Rodgers is looking toward the tight end more than he ever has in his career. So I think to reflect on the draft and them not selecting a wide receiver is just silly because they're in second place of the NFC, have a great chance to get that 1 seed in the NFC, and they're rolling like nothing's wrong. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah, and you mentioned Big Bobby Tonyan.
Sorry, I did slaughter that, didn't I?
Put some respect on his name.
Yeah, I need to. You're right. I'm sorry, Bobby.
But he's tied, I think, with 8 touchdowns. He's tied with Kelsey, most touchdowns by tight end. Yeah. So he's balling. Like nobody would have expected that.
Nobody predicted this.
Dude, I'm the biggest Bobby Tonyan fanboy because I've always I don't know why. I've always liked even before he broke out. I think he followed me on Instagram and I was like, all right, this guy's awesome.
That's my guy.
But, no, but like how he's playing this year is ridiculous. I think he's learned a lot. Like we've talked about him a lot. But I'm just saying, like this offense is rolling. So like I just don't get why people are complaining now. Like if they lose in the playoffs, people want to reflect and say, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that. That's cool. But for me, it's just like, dude, just enjoy it, dude. Like, why are I don't under and I'm not gonna tell people how to fan. Like they can do what they want to do. But like to me, it's like, do you I tweeted this to someone. I was like, do you enjoy the games? Do you enjoy the season? If you're 9-3 and you're on Twitter complaining of who they didn't draft and what they and I get like there's so many things that you could be talking about with the Packers if you want to talk negatively, like special teams. Like there's things that they need to fix, and I think they will. I hope they will.
Reflecting on the draft in December is crying over not only spilled milk, but spilled, rotten, smelly milk. I mean, it is over and done with for almost a year now. I mean, the fact that you're looking at the draft and saying, maybe they should have drafted XYZ. Shut up. It's not going to change anything now. They're 9-3. I mean, this is a ridiculously good season. The Packers were 13-3. The offense has progressed. Maybe, their record won't progress, but that's because they've got a tougher schedule than they did a year ago. And I really look at the Packers and think they have a great chance to win the NFC. I think they obviously are going to win the NFC North. They've got a great shot to be the 1 seed. If you're going to take that, right, take a 12-4, 13-3, even an 11-5 record, a 1, 2, or 3 seed in the NFC, and spin that into a complaint, I'm also not going to tell you how to fan because I understand being critical. I do it every Sunday at the end of the game when I do my post-game show. I point out the issues of that game, even if they win by 15 points. But looking at the draft, looking at what they didn't do in April, is just silly to me. It's nonsensical.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I'm a very optimistic fan. Like it's funny to me because if I'm called a cheerleader a lot, like not as much.
You are. That's true.
But people call me a cheerleader. Like you're always positive. Why are you so positive? And then if I do say something critical, people are like, oh my God, why would you say that? So no matter what I say, and I get it because if people are listening to you or watching you, you're gonna get that. And I like that because that's why we talk. That's why you do what you do, because you like the back and forth. I'm not saying that people, I don't want everyone just to agree with me, especially because I'm wrong so much.
Right. Yes, you are. That's true.
No, but look at I was thinking about this earlier. Look at Rashawn Gary. Everyone hated it. He was a bust. Everyone, why are he's not even on the field much, this and that. And now, he's doing his thing and everyone's like, oh, we want him in over this player, that player. And dude, because fans don't know what their plan is. Even with Jordan Love.
Right, even with Jordan Love, and I'll double down. Back in April, I was doing a live stream with the guys from Packers Worldwide during the draft, and I had been saying weeks leading up to the draft, my favorite quarterback in the draft is Jordan Love, and I'm really scared he's going to get drafted by the Patriots. This was obviously before they signed Cam Newton, and when the Packers drafted him, by all means was I shocked, but holy crap was I pumped, because there was a couple things about that pick that I was really excited about. And number one has come completely true this year. Drafting a quarterback, not only drafting a quarterback in the first round, but trading up to draft a quarterback in the first round is going to do a couple things. It's going to put the fans into panic mode, which whatever, obviously now at 9-3, that's kind of over and done with. But number two is that's going to put a chip the size of a mansion, the size of his Southern California mansion, on Aaron Rodgers' shoulder. And how much has that paid off? The guy's playing at an MVP level. And if Patrick Mahomes didn't exist, he would already have the race sealed and done with. Aaron Rodgers would be the unanimous MVP of the league at this point. But Patrick Mahomes does exist, and we've got a little bit of a showdown going on, a State Farm showdown, as we like to call it. So looking at what it's done for Aaron Rodgers is great, and he's accepted the role of, being a mentor to both him and Tim Boyle. And I still have a very high hopes. I shouldn't say expectations, but I have high hopes for what Jordan Love will be able to accomplish as a Packer. It might not be for another 4 years, but Aaron Rodgers sat for a few years as well. So it's going to happen. It's okay. Let Jordan Love learn from the most talented quarterback we've ever seen. And I don't have an issue with that. I don't think it's a wasted pick because I'd rather have the franchise in safe hands when Aaron Rodgers either calls it quits or departs Green Bay. I'm confident that Jordan Love can be a really good quarterback. I don't think he'll be Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers, but I think he'll be good enough to be the quarterback for several years. So I like the pick. I'll still say in December I like the pick, and I'll probably say next December that I like the pick.
Yeah, see, I don't know because I'm not gonna act like I was like, oh yeah, I knew. I did, dude. I'm not even sure I heard of Jordan Love before that pick. I'm not a college guy. I don't scout. I'm not like trying to be like you. Like you're good at what you do. I just turn it on. I just talk shit. So I'm not gonna act like
that's half of what I do too. Don't mistake it. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, but my thing is, if they truly believe, which they obviously do, they didn't just draft him on a whim. This isn't Madden. Like they didn't like, it was overall guy. Right. So like they have a plan, and then their plan might have been from the get go that we're not going to even suit him. We're going to go at Tim Boyle, let him learn, let him not worry about any of this because we don't really need him. And if something would have happened to Rodgers, maybe that plan would change. I don't know, but that could have been the plan the whole time. We're going to keep Tim Boyle, and if we can get Jordan Love. Let him learn everything. Let him pick brain. And Rodgers is, which appears to be so much better than what he got from Favre. Like, I'm not worried about the wasted pick. I think that it's there's pressure like on them, like when this all goes down.
Yeah.
Like if he's the guy. But I've heard everyone say that he has like the highest ceiling or like one of the highest ceilings of quarterbacks that got in that draft. So
his comparison was Patrick Mahomes. Take that for what it's worth.
And do you know that I saw old tweets of Patrick Mahomes when he got drafted? Similar situation because they had Alex Smith, and their fans were mad when they drafted him.
Matt. This is something we can always talk about, and this is me and you included. I'm not discluding myself from this this analogy that maybe not an analogy, but this statement I'm about to make. Fans don't know what they want. They're not in the front office for a reason. This includes me and you. We say stuff all the time that makes absolutely no sense 3 years later. And this is the comparison that is brought up a ton this year. And you probably know where I'm going to go with this. Bart Winkler just got buried from the fan in Milwaukee. Bart Winkler just got buried last week because Old Takes Exposed on Twitter found a tweet of him from 2016 saying that the Packers should trade Devontae Adams or cut him.
Yeah, I saw that.
That would have worked out horribly, wouldn't it have? And we're really glad that Ted Thompson and Brian Gutekunst and company never did that because he's become the best receiver in football or a top 2 or 3 receiver in football. Development is a real thing in the NFL. You go from a 22, 21, 23-year-old kid to all of a sudden a 27, 28, 29-year-old grown man. You're going to be a different football player in those years of development. It happens. And in the case of Jordan Love, he needs some development. Patrick Mahomes sat an entire year behind Alex Smith, and look what he's done the 3 years he's been, the starter. And I'm not saying Jordan Love next year is going to be the Packers starter and light the NFL on fire the way Patrick Mahomes did, but people need to sit sometimes. It's okay. That's how development works. And Patrick Mahomes was drafted 11 picks ahead, or maybe even more than that. 14 picks ahead of what Jordan Love was. So I imagine Chiefs fans were pissed. You're right, but looking at development and how things work out, I will always revert back to the old Aaron Rodgers quote: RELAX. Relax. They're 9-3. They're hunting for the 1 seed in the NFC, and they've got a damn good chance at it. I like the Packers' odds right now, and I like what they're doing. I mean, obviously, there's issues. There's holes on every team in the NFC. We could pick apart every team. That includes the Saints. That includes the Rams. That includes the Packers, of course. I'm not concerned. I think the Packers are hitting their stride at the right time, and I'm not going to reflect on April's draft as the reason as to why there's struggles in certain position groups. Right? I think it's not smart to do that. How many rookies are having a legitimate, huge impact on their team that aren't quarterbacks? Justin Jefferson is one. Okay. You got any others off the top of your head?
I do not.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm an idiot, though, so there could be someone.
I know I'm definitely missing, maybe some offensive linemen that might be playing well, or, like Cam Akers is a running back in Los Angeles who's starting to pick up some steam for the Rams. But, it's pretty minimal, and that's usually the case. Quarterbacks are really the only position group that, and in that regard, the only rookie quarterback that's winning is Tua. And obviously Joe Burrow's out for the season for Cincinnati because they should be wanted for assault because they threw him behind that horrible offensive line and eventually got him hurt. Justin Herbert's not winning. It's like I'm all right with where we're at. It's hard reflect on the draft and hold any animosity toward the Green Bay front office.
Yeah, because like I don't even like talking about Jordan Love because like what everyone always like brings it up, and I just did because this conversation.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, but like every player, doesn't matter the position. It takes different players, different times, and the coaches know. Coaches see. Like I'm not comparing Jordan Love to any quarterback in the NFL, not Rodgers, not Mahomes, not anyone. Yeah. But if Rodgers didn't sit, who knows what he'd have been? If he got drafted by the Niners, had to get thrown in right away. Who knows what the difference would have been? I think certain players get lucky. Certain quarterbacks get ruined. Look at RG3. Like all that talent, and then they just had him out there just getting the crap beat out of him. And a lot of quarterbacks, I think, if they went to a different team, they might have been great. If Brady went to the Jaguars, you might not even ever heard his name.
No, right. You're totally right.
But anyways, we'll move it along just a little bit here. So the Packers are in great position. Yeah. Like you said, to be a number one. Who, like, going to the playoffs, because this is what a lot of people's concern is that they're going to go to the playoffs and they're just going to get beat by the Buccaneers or the Saints or the Seahawks or whoever. Who do you like? Are you concerned? I mean, obviously you're concerned, but like, everyone's concerned going to the playoffs? Like, no one just goes to the playoffs like, hey, we're going to win it all.
Unless you're a Patriots fan, right?
yeah, unless you're a Patriots fan. But like, but who do you is like the biggest contender, and like, how do you see the Packers matching up against these teams?
That's a good question, and I try to remove the bias, right? I try to look at this from a football scope rather than a Packers fan scope because it's hard not to, right? You know, the Packers are like the one team in sports that I just love. And so I'm going to do my best to look at this from a unbiased football scope. I legitimately think they are top 3 for sure in the NFC, if not number 1. I look at this team's ability to score points, which of course is very, very important if you're going to the Super Bowl and matching up with a team like, let's say, the Chiefs. You know, you've got to have the ability to score points. I would say the Rams, but Jared Goff is their quarterback, and he's so he's kind of like MVS at quarterback. He's up one day, down the other, or up one drive, down the next. You know, I like Jared Goff. He's a former number 1 overall pick for a reason. I just don't know if he's enough to lead them back to the Super Bowl. But I really like the Rams. I think what they've got going with Sean McVay and company is a really good team and a contender. New Orleans is, of course, I mean, they're always a threat in the NFC. Once they get Drew Brees back healthy, assuming he's 100%, I think they're really solid. The team that Green Bay beat New Orleans earlier this year is not the same New Orleans team that's playing in December and will be in January. The Bucs don't scare me. Although they beat the Packers this year, again, that was a different Packers team and a different Bucs team at that. I like Green Bay's chances, especially if the road goes through Lambeau Field, you know, the stadium behind you, if you're watching the video format of this. If the road goes through there, it's hard to disagree with the Packers being the favorite in the NFC. So my answer would be the Rams and the Saints as the biggest threats to the Packers' success. But the Packers' biggest threat to their own success is themselves. I mean, it's the little mistakes that they'll make. It's the run defense patching up against a good running back. And, you know, there will be good running backs in the playoffs, like the Saints. Alvin Kamara, he gave them issues earlier this year. I think if they match up with the Saints again, he'll give them issues again. But I think the Packers, this might be a bold statement here, Maddie, so listen up. I think the Packers might have a better shot than they did a year ago.
Oh, yeah. I was saying that to my son. It's funny because whenever I talk football with my kids, they're like, oh, you're an idiot and you're supposed to be this podcaster, know-it-all. Because they probably know more than I do. But I was saying this. The Packers beat themselves more than anything because the Packers, they had to have a lead. Like, that's what my kid said. He goes, oh, really? The team with the lead is better? No. But, like, if the Packers have a big mistake early, that's how they shoot themselves in the foot. Like if they have an early fumble, which isn't typical of them, but if that stuff happens like against a good team, like playing with the lead is where they are good because they're not great at stop and run, even though they are getting better the last couple of weeks. But if they can get a lead on a team and they can't run as much or they just lean a little bit off it and the Packers can keep scoring, obviously that's in their favor. So like I think if they don't make mistakes, no drops, no tip balls, interceptions, I think that they can beat anyone. And I'm biased as hell. Like I don't even try to not be biased, but like, yeah, I think if they can somehow figure out how to stop the run just a little bit, special teams has to improve. You can't give away free touches. I hate kickoff touch for touchdowns, punt return for touchdown. Because to me, like playing Madden back in the day, it was like those are free points. They didn't even earn them. Like that was just obviously in real life it's earned. They have a great returner, they have the blocks or whatever. But like it's just easy, cheap touchdowns. They can't have that stuff. Well, you got Aaron Rodgers, Devonta Adams, like the running game, I think it is key. Big Bobby Tunyon. Like I think this offense is great. The defense, the secondary, I think is good. I think that they can.
They have picked it up back there, man. And Jair's been so darn good all year. Jair's been, if not the top corner in football, one of them. But you look at the safeties. Adrian Amos, you've been hearing his name a heck of a lot more the last 5 weeks. Darnell Savage, 3 picks in the last 2 games. I mean, that's last year's draft coming to fruition, ironically, as we're having this draft conversation, right? Doesn't always happen in year 1 again. But back to my point, the defensive backfield, yeah, it's been really, really solid. Kevin King's been good when he's been healthy. But the Raven Green, who might be out for the season now, that's a blow. I like what I've seen out of him a lot this year. I actually did a quick hit on him on Monday's Pack a Day podcast. I love watching that guy play. He is really fun to watch, Raven Green, if you keep your eyes on him. So hopefully they get him back, but it's not sounding too good for him for the rest of the season. But yeah, that defensive backfield has played really well this year, especially as of late, and I hope they can keep it rolling. I mean, in football, we talk a lot about peaking at the right time, getting hot at the right time. The Packers are getting hot at the right time, and they don't have a terribly, frustrating or tough schedule the rest of the way. So I think they can maybe run the table there, Matty.
Yeah, that's what I've always said is it seems like, especially in the NFC, because the AFC, it's always been the Patriots. But the NFC, like the Giants, like the Packers 45 team, a lot of the NFC teams within the last years, it's like they got hot. They weren't even supposed to be in the Super Bowl. They weren't talked about as the best team in the NFC the whole year. And then they got hot at the right time. And that's all any team has to do. But the Packers just have to keep it rolling, go into the playoffs confident, and obviously playing a little bit better on defense. And they can do it. But I want to ask you about Raven Green, because I didn't know. I know that he's on IR. So you think he's done for the year?
That's what it was sounding like. Yeah, Matt LaFleur said that earlier this week, that him and Tyler Ervin's season may be over. So, yeah, it doesn't sound good. It's a shoulder injury for him, a foot injury for Ervin. They're both on injured reserve. They both got placed there yesterday. So we'll see. But from what it sounded like from Matt LaFleur, was not good.
Yeah, I like Raven Green. First of all, he said that he's going to do my podcast probably like in the off season. He didn't want to do it during the season.
Right.
I like his play. I always get pumped up when I see him make a play.
Yeah.
So that sucks. So what do you think about the Packers signed, what is it? Tavon Austin? Did I say his name right? I was.
Yeah, you got it.
So how do you think that will they ever have him at wide receiver, or is he just going to be like a kick return, punt return guy?
I think he's going to fill that Tyler Ervin role. I think he brings that versatility and that vertical ability to that offense to really stretch the field. And, he might line up as a running back here and there. I don't know. Matt LaFleur is an innovative mind. He's going to use him where he thinks he fits. And I think he's kind of going to slot into that Tyler Ervin role to really bring, kind of a versatile feel to that offense. And I'm excited to see what he can do. But yeah, he'll be, I imagine, I'm not the head coach by any means, but I imagine he'll be in that kick return and punt return role as well. But excited to see what they'll get out of him. I imagine he'll play against Detroit this Sunday, and that will be our first glimpse. Yeah, because
he has. I saw that Rodgers mentioned him too on the Pat McAfee show. I missed the Pat McAfee show this week. Did Rodgers say anything great this week that I missed?
Bad news. I also missed it this week.
Oh, that's a bad question.
Yeah, it is. I listened to about the first 10 minutes of it, and then I had to boogie. But from what I heard, entertaining as always. You and I are both huge fans of Pat McAfee. He runs that stuff just fantastically. But I did not get the chance to listen to all of it yet, but I will before the game on Sunday.
Yeah, I watched a few clips on Twitter, but I didn't really see a whole bunch, which was odd because I was at home. I think I took a nap. I don't know. Yeah. I missed it. But I think that's about all I got. I wanted to, just talk about all this stuff. I think we covered everything. Do you have anything else, Mr. Professional?
Mr. Professional. No, I have nothing else besides that I hate you. No, I'm just kidding. But I will say this. Look, I am really looking forward to this game against Detroit. I think it should be a good one. I mean, it's divisional football in the afternoon. Why wouldn't it be fun? But Darrell Bevell, who is the interim head coach for the Detroit Lions right now, was the quarterback's coach Aaron Rodgers' rookie season. So it'll be fun to see what goes on there. But yeah, so we'll see. Also a former quarterback at Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken, Darrell.
Yeah, I think I saw a quote from Aaron Rodgers that his main job back in the day was finding Brett Favre or something.
Yeah, it's his first job under Bevell, which was the only year they had together, was to find Brett Favre on the sideline, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, first of all, I want to take a shot at Lions fans real quick because
yes,
as my tweet was going off today and everyone was kind of yelling at me, barking at each other, a few Lions fans chimed in. They're like, they quote tweeted me. I love to see Packers fans falling apart. They're at each other's throats. It's like, yeah, I get it. Lion fan, you're calm. Everything is cool because you know you suck. Like, until dude, they have bags on their heads half the time. That's why I said it earlier in the year. Not having fans in a stadium is no big thing for the Lions. They've been socially distanced since '87. Dude, I can't. I mean, I actually don't have a problem with Lion fans most time because they don't really say much. Because what can they say?
Right.
It's like a homeless person talking shit about your car. I mean, not to take a shot at homeless people, but you know, it's not. I don't know. Lion fans, they got nothing to say. Like I've had a few tell me about how we wasted Aaron Rodgers' career and all that stuff. But you've wasted every player. Barry Sanders was the best. To me, is my favorite running back of all time. Yeah. Even though he's a Lion and I can't stand it. But Barry Sanders, when I was a kid watching him, he was like Brett Favre in his prime. Like everyone was talking about Favre. Like I don't think people remember. Like you're young, but like when they both Favre and Barry Sanders are very similar, that everyone wanted to watch them play. Like there's that Randy Moss quote when it was a game and Favre was coming out and he's like, "Oh, this is Brett Favre," and everyone wanted to watch it. It was fun. Same with Barry Sanders, even though he was on the other side. Like you couldn't help but be in awe of it.
Well, how about Calvin Johnson as well? We'll throw that name out there. They wasted his prime. I mean, he was great, best receiver in the league, like no doubt about it, for several years. And did they whiff the playoffs once with him? I think they might have made it and lost in the first round, but I could be wrong on that. But
yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, there's so many that they waste. Yeah, Calvin Johnson, they get players to retire early. Like, you know what? I quit. I'm just not, because it's like they don't try. I'm not convinced that the Lions do try. I think the ownership, they're more, they got better things to worry about. Because they had a GM, I forget his name now. He used to be an announcer. I forget his name. Anyways, but he was horrible. Everyone was, even like the announcers were like, yeah, this guy sucks at his job. He drafted like a wide receiver like 4 years in a row with his first pick, and they always had high picks. And like finally, I think Calvin Johnson was. I don't know if he was one of them, but anyways, most of them sucked. They didn't work out. That's what the Lions do. I don't know. Lions fans, you did shut the hell up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they don't have a lot to talk about, man. But then again, you have to understand they have a lot of pent-up frustration from being Lions fans. I mean, they've only seen 3 playoff games since the turn of the millennium. So take that for what it's worth. I mean, again, we've seen the Packers in 2 playoff games last year. The Lions have seen 3 playoff games since 2000.
Yeah. So, yeah, I try to take it easy on them because it's like kicking someone with when they're down. It's like trying to, beat your kid in basketball and then you start getting in his face. Now what?
Now what?
You can't. I do that. I do that.
Why does that not shock me at all?
Dude, when my son was young, I don't know if I ever told you this. When my son was young, my older boy, everyone, because he's a smart kid, he's in college now, but he was like in all the sports, and everyone would tell him how great he was. They'd be like, "Oh, nice hit," or basketball, nice shot, isn't that? And I would just tear him down, be like, "Dude, you're not that great." And then not in a mean way. Like later, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm proud of you," and all that stuff. But everyone would raise him up, and I'd be like, "No, you ain't that great. You're lucky to be starting." And yes, everyone would I'd tell the parents that, be like, if he missed it, like, "Oh, look at that brick." They're like, "Why would you say that?" And they're like, and that's just how I am. That's how we are.
It's called tough love, folks.
Yeah, you can't tell him that he's great every second of the day.
Right.
Once in a while you throw one in. Yeah, that was all right, I guess. I could have done better.
You seem like an admirable father.
Dude, I used to tell his baseball coach, like, my kids can take a hit because I used to pitch to them for practice and I'd hit them every time. Like, I would just clunk them. And he'd be like, what are you preparing me for? I was like, to get hit. I didn't mean to. I suck at throwing.
How many times have you won Father of the Year?
None.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Dude, I used to like throw pitches to him though, and I'd tell him stuff in basketball. Like, we'd be like at the little like gym place over here, and I'd be like giving him pointers. Like, you should try this. He's like, my coach said never ever do that. I'm like, oh, then don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah. Maybe
just practice shooting. Don't listen to anything I say. Like, I'm not good.
You're gonna be a head coach someday. I see it.
I used to talk to their coach because my son's basketball coach was like the athletic director.
Okay.
At his school, and I'd be like, dude, if you need a coach, like, I'm good, because
I'm right there.
I've helped practice before, like for the team. Or one time I was in the outfield and the ball came, the sun got in my eyes, and I flopped around. I missed it. It landed right in front of me. All the kids rolled on the ground laughing. Like, there's so many stories of me trying to help. I remember one time I was helping my younger boy was in 3rd grade, and the coach was like, hey, I'm going to go in the batters in the pitching like net thing, where they pitch or batting box, whatever the hell they call it. And can you just throw these little plastic balls and let the kids hit them? Because, they're 3rd grade.
Sure.
I'm doing that. These kids are climbing the fence. He's over there yelling, hey, Ramage, control the kids. I'm like, what do? I can't hit them. That's how I control mine. No, I should say, I'm kidding. I don't hit my kids.
I hope nobody clips that and sends it to the FBI or Child Services. Yeah.
No, but like, I don't know how to, because they're all teachers, so they know how to control kids. Like, I'm like, please don't do that. That's dangerous. Kids are like 7 feet in the air. I'm like, that kid's definitely getting hurt. And then, he finally came back. He's like, you got to control. And I was like, I don't know how to do that, man.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, he just yells and oh, I'm sorry. I was like, I told you. Anyways, yeah, I'll never be a coach.
No, you won't be. But I enjoyed those stories.
Yeah. We got. Were you ever in any sports? Like 5 years ago when you were in high school?
Yeah, 5 years ago. That's actually not wrong, which is scary. No, I played basketball. My last ever game, I hit a 3/4 court shot, JV basketball. And the 3rd quarter, they were still playing quarters back then. And then I call it quits after my sophomore year. I am 6'3" and very, very skinny, so sports are not my thing.
Yeah, I live in a smaller town, but yeah, my kid played varsity. He did all right. He's actually he was actually pretty good in basketball. Not like he was going to go pro or whatever, but he held his own. He threw the ball under the basket. He laid it up there. He did pretty good. I was never athletic. I did flag football, and then once they started talking about putting helmets on, I was like, yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm done.
Anyways,
I'll tell you what, though. Earlier today, me and 2 of my roommates, we went outside and tossed the Frisbee around a little bit. And then I realized by playing Frisbee how ridiculously out of shape I am.
Yeah, I used to go outside and play like football with my kids. I'd tell them, you got 10 minutes to enjoy this.
You've got 7 minutes and 14 seconds before I have an asthma attack.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I'm all-time quarterback, and
yeah,
I don't scramble. And I'm throwing it right from this spot. Get open. I'm chucking it.
No rushing the quarterback. No 10 apple. None of that nonsense. I'm standing right here. My boots are gonna, leave imprints in the grass because you 2 are doing all the running.
That's right. So right before we go, do you want to give a score prediction for the Lions game, or do you want to save it for your stuff?
No.
Some guys don't want to do it. Some guys want to like, whoa, I do that on my show, and they don't want to.
Matt, it's me. Relax. I'm not important enough to save it for something. Let's go. Green Bay is going to eclipse 30 points again. Let's go 34-21 final score.
All right. I'll say 34-17, but I think that's my prediction like every week.
It seems like it's usually pretty similar to that. You like your field goals.
So it's funny because last week, for the Bears game it was. I did a lot of podcasts. I did a Bears podcast, and I was doing these predictions, and like everyone was different.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's like because I don't think about it. It's not like I have like, oh, I think Devontae Adams is going to get a touchdown. I think this player,
I just throw out some numbers and see what happens. I mean, there's no method to the madness by any means.
I think it's funny when people do a prediction and they'll be like 34-18. Like you're really predicting like what's happening to get 18.
He really broke down the sixth minute of the fourth quarter and how they got to 18.
Yeah, they're like, well, they got a safety in the right before half. They were trying to throw a Hail Mary and the ball got stripped and then they jumped on top of the end zone.
Are you a psychopath? Why are you running through these false narratives that are never going to come true?
But if they do, they could
that may look like freaking geniuses, and they should probably go start, working in Vegas or something like that.
Yeah, that's one thing no one's ever said about me, that I'm a genius. But anyways, Alex Strouf, everyone, you can find him on Twitter at Alex_Strouf. He's on Instagram. He's got a Facebook page doing big things. He's really good at what he does. He's
the
busiest guy in the world. I've always said, dude, you're gonna be big time. Jim Rome, move over. We got Alex Strouf coming in.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I would love to make a salary. So
yeah, and you could hire me. I'll go get your coffee and stuff. I'm good.
All right, deal.
I appreciate everyone tuning in. Go Pack, go, baby.